Jacob, are you ready?
Yep.
You ready? Okay. It's 5 o'clock on Monday, March the 15th, and we'll call this regular city council meeting to order. This is a public meeting. It's being held in person, but also being made available for the public to participate via conference call due to the ongoing pandemic. This agenda was published last Friday, March 12th, with instructions for the public to participate. So with that, if everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Deb.
Don?
Here.
Jody? Here. Charlie?
Here.
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 Thank you. We do have a quorum. I'd entertain a motion now to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Harley, a second by Don. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don?
Yes.
Jody? Yes. Harley?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Across the mayor's desk, I just want to thank Colin Penton tonight. He's the videographer and helping us out. And perhaps you've seen on Facebook already, but there is going to be a movie being filmed in Algona this fall called Silent Night in Algona, and it's about our German POW camp. They do have a Facebook page out. The filming crew and production staff should be here in Algona yet this summer, with again filming this fall. I understand that the leading characters have already been chosen. So that's kind of some exciting news, again, for Algona. So does the council have anything that they would like to share? Okay, hearing none, an update from the city administrator.
Just got a couple items. One, we are currently advertising for a number of jobs right now for full-time, our recreation manager position, as well as a number of part-time and seasonal summer with the public works crews, as well as aquatics and lifeguards. So those are posted on the city's website. If you go there, you can stop in at City Hall for applications. And then also wanted to give an update on the recent rating that the city got before we went to bond sales. So our bond sale was today, but just the timing of things, didn't get a chance to report on our rating from Moody's Investor Services. But on March 3rd, they released their rating. The city received an A1 rating, which is considered obligations rated A are considered upper medium grade and are subject to low credit risk. For the strengths, it identified a stable local economy with limited impacts from the coronavirus pandemic, as well as well-managed finances driving consistently strong reserves. So we were happy with that rating and the comments that they had on the city's financials.
Very good. Thank you. We'll move to agenda item number 7. This is the citizens' opportunity to address council with any item that is not on the agenda. Is there anyone out there who would like to speak? Okay, hearing none and none in the audience. Then we will move to agenda item number 8, which is the consent agenda, and that includes approving the minutes from our March 1st council meeting, approving the minutes from the March 8th special session council meeting, approving the bills to be paid this cycle, approve a Class E liquor license to Akron Stop Chib LLC, and as well as a cigarette permit to Akron Stop Chib LLC, approve a Class C liquor license to Kossuth County Speedway and Kossuth County, approve the department reports, approve the minutes from the various boards and commissions that have met, as well as Jacob's administrator's report.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don?
Yes.
Jody? Yes. Harley?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Move to agenda item number 9, which is a public hearing. So it is 5:05, and we'll go ahead and we'll open that public hearing now on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Jacob, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, so this is for fiscal year ending 2022, which runs from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, and has been the topic of several council meetings over the last few months. Notice of the proposed budget and was published on March 4th in the Kasuth County Advance. The city has not received any written or in-person comments or questions regarding the proposed budget.
Okay. Anyone out there who would like to speak to that? Okay, hearing none, it's 5:06, and we'll go ahead and we'll close that public hearing, which moves us into new business agenda item number 10, which is a resolution to adopt that budget.
So this resolution approves the budget, which is attached to the resolution, as well as certifying the tax rates in order to fund the proposed expenditures. This year for regular property for the upcoming fiscal year, the total tax levy per 1,000 valuation will be $15.96799, and on agricultural property it'll be $3.00375 per $1,000 valuation. For total revenues this year, we are anticipating $14,479,638. For total expenditures, we are projecting $19,579,487,000, and within those expenditures are for capital projects we have budgeted $6,720,707. So the bond proceeds, which we will be approving, or which are on the agenda later tonight, to be the vast majority of the funder of those capital projects, will be received in the current fiscal year's budget in terms of revenues, but then expended in the FY22 budget.
Jake, the question most people are going to have is, I paid so much tax last year and so much the year before. How's this next year going to compare?
So the proposed tax levy is an increase of 2.94%. The primary driver of that is the borrowing for the $9 million, which will provide funding for our capital projects, primarily for streets, over the next 3 years.
Entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Jody? Yes. Harley?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. We'll move then to agenda item number 11, which is a resolution directing the sale of capital loan notes.
So at a previous council meeting, council had given direction to sale of bonds. Our bond sale was closed today at 10 a.m. So the resolution, which you have a copy of on your desk and has been uploaded to the website, has the bond details filled in there with, as proposed, with the most competitive bid that we got. Suzanne, are you on the call?
I am on here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I'll share the results. So we did a competitive bond sale, which means we presented the opportunity to buy the city of bonus bonds to all of the underwriters that were in the market today, and we received 8 bids from over 54 different firms. And so our goal with the competitive sale is to get at least 3 bids, and today we got 8. So that's really good news. That means there were a lot of people, a lot of firms that were looking to buy the bonds in the city of Algona today. The true interest cost is how we measure sort of the aggregated interest rates. So we look at gives you kind of that APR, that aggregated interest rate for the cost of the whole series of bonds. Municipal bonds are actually have a different coupon rate or different interest rate for each annual maturity. And so the TIC kind of measures overall what's the overall percentage rate that it would cost the city to issue these bonds today. And the TIC range, the best TIC to the highest TIC was 1.49% to 1.85%. So very, very exciting to take advantage of these low rates today. The winning bid came from SHN Financial Capital Markets out of Memphis, Tennessee. And we call that second place bid or the first runner-up, so to speak, as the cover bid. And that was Robert W. Baird with a very large selling group out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And they were, less than 0.01% behind. So the closer we see those rates together, the more there was a competition to win today. And the first three bids were all within just 0.035 of each other, so within 3 basis points of each other, very, very close. So that tells me that there was definitely a desire to win today. Now, after getting the final bids, when we set up the sales, we let the underwriters, let them decide what coupon structure is best for them and how they can get you the lowest cost of capital. And so we give them kind of a free rein to decide how that they could give you the lowest rate possible. And FHN did have a premium on some of the non-callable bonds, and so we are going to keep the premium, but we did need to resize some of the annual maturity amounts to match the city's budget. And so at the end of the day, CFM recommends that the city award the $9,080,000 general obligation capital loan note Series 2021 to SHN Financial Capital Markets at a true interest cost of 1.4986%. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Glad we were able to get this together quickly and get the good rates. I mean,
Yeah.
and to see a lot of competition.
Very good, Rick.
Yeah, and a lot of competition with it, so that's great.
Suzanne, could you provide an overview of the premium of that will actually be receiving more than that,
Yeah,
that 9 million?
Yeah, so what happens is when they bid on a premium, when underwriters think rates are going to go up, they bid a premium. When they think rates are going to go down, they bid a discount. And what's interesting is that some of the early, like maturities 1 through 10, they had premium, and then some of the later maturities had a discount. So that's interesting to see how investors are kind of their thoughts on where interest rates are going to be. And so what that means is that you're still borrowing the $9,080,000, but they have to pay you more than 100% for the purchase price on those bonds. So we still borrowed, we still owe the $9,080,000, but they paid a premium, so there's an extra $370,000 that goes in your project fund that will get paid back within the same debt service schedule. And so, that was, we decided to keep the premium because it's at 1.49%. That's excellent. And this is kind of our borrowing for the next 2 years to cover all those capital costs. And then we'll just borrow a little bit less than the next time, not knowing if we can get such a good rate again in 2 years.
So the resolution that was on the agenda identified that $9,080,000 subject to adjustment on the terms of offering, so that the par amount, the base amount is the same, but with that adjustment for the premium, the total purchase price as adjusted would be $9,445,059.51, and then with the resize on kind of just where our payments are going to be as opposed to when they had their premiums in there, the true interest cost will be 1.511262%.
Yeah, and that's a function of having to structure. We had to move a little bit of principal out of the earlier years where there were larger premiums because we have a budgeted amount we were targeting for principal and interest. So we did restructure a little bit, and that's why the rate went up just a little bit. But still 1.51 all said and done with the extra bond proceeds in there.
think it all looks great. I'd make a motion, we approve FHN Financial Capital Markets bid for the bonds, sell of the bonds.
Okay, we have a motion by Rodney, a second by Don. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Jody, yes, Harley,
Yes.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all the good work on this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Going to see a lot of work being done.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 12, which is a resolution approving the appointment of the at-large council seat made vacant by Brooke Sudol's resignation. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to appoint a candidate. We have Tyler Gibney and Carl Wessling.
I think it was great that we had a couple individuals, and we have some with experience, and we have youth wanting to come in, and he you know, went through the leadership class as we understood, and currently working at Snap-on and as an engineer, and it's good to see we have youth looking at being a part of the city. I don't know if youth, he might not think, but youth to me. To me, so, and again, I've been on the board with Carl Wesley, and I thank him for his willingness to serve too, because he served wonderfully as a board member of the Algona Community School Districts when I served with him. But I'd make a motion, we appoint Tyler Gibney to our vacant at-large city council position, filling Brooke Sudol's spot.
And
Go ahead, Mike.
I'll second that, and like Rodney said, we're just glad people are interested, that we had more than one person come out. I mean, we've been here before where it's one person or we're begging people, so thank you, Tyler, for stepping out. Thanks, Carl, for stepping out and wanting to take part, and we wish you the best.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Jody, yes, Harley,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Congratulations, Tyler. We will swear you in at the next meeting, which, golly, is 3 weeks from now, April the 5th. You
mean
can
we're not
believe
meeting?
that.
We're not going to meet on a Monday?
Well, I know.
This
Jacob, can
guy-
you think of something for a
Yeah,
Monday
can
night?
I'm sure something will come up.
Something will come up. There you go. And then your term, as you probably know, will run through the end of this calendar year. And if things go well and you so choose, you are welcome to place your name on the ballot for an additional 4 years. So we look forward to, and Jacob or Deb probably will be getting together with you to, for more information. So
We'll set up a time and kind of do a orientation, a 101, and go over the budget and all that fun stuff. Great, thank you guys.
So, very good. Congratulations. Okay, with that, then we'll move to agenda item number 13, which is a resolution approving a grant application regarding the airport.
So this is approving application for a grant to the Iowa Department of Transportation. This is to replace the bifold doors on the, would be south entry of the maintenance hangar out at the airport. The total estimated cost of the project is $85,000. The grant request is for 75% of that cost, $63,750. The city would be responsible for the outstanding share of that, which is expected to be $21,250. This project was identified, or is identified in our airport capital improvement plan, which was approved this last December.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Mike, a second by, from Jody. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Jody, yes, Harley,
Yes.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item number 14 is to consider KCEDC membership.
Following the last council meeting that we had, the work session with Morgan Albert and some of the members of the County Economic Development Corporation Board, put this on as an agenda item to consider membership city was last a member, I think, in 2013. And meeting with Maureen and, and Barb and kind of in our plans for economic development, we think now would be a good time to see if we can maybe reestablish that partnership and what we might be able to do together. So I asked Maureen to provide the annual dues membership, as well as if it was council decided that it was in the best interest to rejoin KCEDC rather than wait until July to get things going. Asked her for a prorated what those dues would be, so we could start April 1 and get the ball rolling right away. And I believe that cost estimate for the remaining fiscal year was just shy of $5,600. And this would be something that would be revisited and renewed every year.
Well, my major concern with this is that city staff who has been working with economic development, if this would be, I guess, another tool for you to work better with the county and accomplishing things. Back when we discontinued membership, it seemed like it was appropriate at that time because we didn't feel we were getting what we needed, but now if you feel like that would be a big help for you, I think it would be wise to go ahead and immediately rejoin with them so you can take advantage of what they offer. So I would move to approve this.
I'll second. With everything we have going on, the development we have, I think they're going to be a big help in all that, and another place we can go to for assistance and bounce ideas off and work well with. So I'll gladly second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Harley, a second from Mike. Is there any discussion?
This, next year's we kind of already put in our budget, right? I mean, the extra 5,000 wasn't budgeted, but the 20-some was budgeted.
Correct.
Yes.
That 5,000 that would come out of this current year's budget, since we've had that
Yeah.
position vacant.
Vacant, yeah.
We're under budget on that one, and then for next year, what we're looking at in terms of the total economic development budget, with the intent being that we're not going to have a full-time economic development person that more or less that would represent, those funds would be used towards this membership.
Yeah, I just kind of thought that discussion would be good so that the people can hear that and understand that too. We already kind of understand it, but I think it's just good that our public understands that if they're watching or listening.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Vote please, Deb.
Yes.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 15 involves referring a plat to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
In 2019, we had referred a preliminary plat to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which the council ultimately approved for phase 1 of the Peak Industrial Park. As we plan to move forward with construction of Snap-on Drive this year, we have a proposed amendment to that preliminary plat and then a proposed final plat to be referred to Planning and Zoning, so they match up with the same document, but you have to have the preliminary and the final. So what's referred is an amendment to phase 1 of the preliminary and then the updated final plat. Really the only thing that has changed, we still have, or what hasn't changed are the lots as proposed, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, 4, 5, and 6 for future private development. Outlot A would be stormwater management, as well as outlot B and C. The change is that we have combined those lots south of what will eventually be Poplar Street into one lot in the amended preliminary and proposed final plat.
As stormwater management, that's probably some kind of retention or something you're talking there, or? I mean,
Yeah.
we'd need to get across the railroad to drain into the drainage ditch there.
Yeah, in this outlot B, that's currently where the bowl ditch runs between the railroad and that property to the north, and then it crosses underneath the railroad. So the outlot A would be at retention basically to absorb some of that capacity as we see development out there, and really the intent being that we can build a much more efficient regional stormwater system. So when we get private development out there, rather than requiring each of them to do their own on-site stormwater management, and you have, little treatment facilities all around, you could have larger, more efficient development, and they'll be able to buy capacity into the system for the entire industrial park, depending on exactly how much impervious they have. They might still have to do some on-site, but will allow a lot more efficient land use out there. And so outlot A as well as C would eventually retain and then release into outlot B, which would go into the drainage ditch.
I'd move to approve the final plat then.
This is a referral.
Referral.
Oh, this is just a referral, okay, then
To refer to
move to
planning.
refer to P and Z then.
We have a motion by Harley, a second from Don to refer this to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Yes.
Yes. Harley.
Yes.
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 Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item 16 is an appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Do we have any names yet? Okay. All right.
Is it just one?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just one, right there. Okay.
Yep. Okay, then agenda item number 17, this is discussion involving the street improvement project, the mill and the overlay, and the cost share for private improvements. Jacob.
So this was the topic of our Streets and Sewer Committee meeting earlier this week. The engineers are working on design for the mill and overlay and really taking into account all the unique circumstances of the existing conditions. Two items that came up when city staff and the project engineer walked all the streets proposed for mill and overlay are the driveway connections, and as well as there are, and both of these issues are within that kind of Overmeyer, Good Samaritan neighborhood down here in the southwest part of the city, but the driveway connections and how those are curb, as well as sump pump and downspout drainage piped and actually installed into the curb, so it immediately goes into the city street. The city has an ordinance regarding sump pumps as well as downspouts that they're not to be located within 4 feet of the street. They're not only in this area, but it's one of those items in terms of enforcement, you kind of take it as it comes about. So when we go to do the mill and overlay, and a lot of this involves a good amount of curb and gutter repair and reconstruction, we would look to enforce that ordinance and have those currently piped into the curb removed. And then the other item to be discussed, and in the installation of whether the homeowner has that go to their yard, if they do construct a dry well, if they do a rain garden, or they just have it run to their yard, and then that way it can soak in before hitting for stormwater. After that 4 feet, that would be on the homeowner to address, which would be relatively inexpensive if even though it's just taken out of the curb. The other item regarding the driveway connections is going to have a cost up in terms of addressing that. So kind of want to discuss those two issues, as well as for the cost share on how we
instead of a gutter that has a little bit of a lip up to the driveway. With that joint right there, we're constantly running water down through that joint, and that's what some of the issues are with our curbs. The water's infiltrating underneath the curb, and it's either heaving or it's sinking, and deteriorating. So we'd like to put the correct style curb in, and I call it a drive-over curb. If the gutter will come down and do a little bit of a curb up to drive over in like that into somebody's driveway. Otherwise, if we're putting in new curb and gutter and we're going to leave it the same way, we're just chasing our tails. We're going to come up with the same issue in a few years, so we've got it out there now.
The improper, connections, ultimately they damage our infrastructure and they damage the property owner's infrastructure with, the driveway, and that it washes out the ground underneath, which makes it sink and freeze thaw. And so, some of them it's really obvious, and this is one where, you can't really tell the photo of the angle, but it is really steep. It's just, and then that, leads to cracking and damaging the curb infrastructure, and doesn't allow the water to flow the way it should.
So if a person's redoing their driveway, you really need to make sure that the street part of it is up to par before you come down and meet it with your driveway. Because you need that little rise on the street for it to properly match with the driveway.
Yeah, the lip that keeps the water going where it should.
Mm-hmm.
What we discussed with the Street and Sewer Committee is where we're replacing the curb and gutter, and they have driveways like this, to notify the resident and present a 50-50 cost share, because we'll have to go back into their driveway anywhere between 4 and 6 feet. The one that's really steep, it'll be a lot more, just to level out the driveway, make the better grade. Bolton makes estimated cost if we went back 6 feet on each driveway, and each driveway is 24 feet wide, it's roughly $1,500. Yeah. And we would cost share that with the citizens. But it's not going to be every driveway, it's only the driveways where the curb and gutter is bad in front of their house. And a lot of those driveways, the approaches need to be replaced anyway because they're all broken. And to me, it would be an advantage for the homeowner to cost share with us and save $750.
Yeah, I think there's a necessity of doing that right. So if we're going to redo the street, certainly make it so it's going to last. I guess I have more concerns with the drainage into the street, because with that issue, I think back to when we were having a lot of trouble with people burning in town, burning their leaves, burning wet leaves in particular, which was causing a lot of problems with neighbors and whatever. And when we decided to ban that type of burning, we first decided we had to come up with a reasonable alternative, thus our compost recycling system that we have, and that made sense. Here, I'm not sure what the alternative I think there's a lot of different situations. I'm not sure how we address them all fairly and give people a reasonable alternative. I mean, some people have no place to pump to other than in the street. If they can't pump within 4 feet of the curb, a lot of times that puts them on the other side of the sidewalk. And how much sense does it make to be pumping water across the sidewalk, especially this time of year? In the spring and fall, when you start getting cold weather, that's just plain dangerous. And then I assume the landowner is probably liable for that too then. So it puts them in a no-win situation. So I would be looking for answers for that.
On the curb, there is language in our ordinance that would allow the street superintendent or the public works director to make an exception if it was a very unique circumstance. And this is a good example. This top one is a sump pump. When it's constantly running, you can see how it eats away, even with the curve there, because you've got that pump and all that force coming out of it, and it actually eats away at the asphalt. And especially with the sumps in the winter, if they're running, it's creating an ice sheet. The wire's got to go somewhere, but it's putting it on the city street. Where it's going to freeze and damage infrastructure. With cars, that's not an ideal option either.
But pumping onto a frozen yard isn't going to be any better, and it'll eventually end up on the street anyway and it'll probably cross the sidewalk on the way.
What other communities have done, and I know Fort Dodge has done this, and they did it in Forest City, is on a case-by-case basis, that while it is freezing outside, you are allowed to pump your sump pump into the sanitary sewer, but only on case-to-case basis. And then the sewer superintendent goes around and makes sure that it's pumping back outside when the order comes. That way you don't have the ice on the sidewalk, you don't have the ice in the street. But they have to call and ask permission to have that done.
Obviously, we've been doing a lot of work over the last year to get stormwater out of the sanitary. The uniqueness of that situation would be it's only in the winter months when we aren't having rain and snow melt where our sanitary is getting overloaded by storm. It's removed by the time we get to that where when we do see those times where there's a lot of water going into the ground. But our current ordinance does not allow for that, at least, but it's an option. Certainly not playing other communities have found that as an alternative.
I guess I would like to have more information on, you mentioned like maybe a retainage area someplace in the yard that you would intentionally dig down a little, but not so much as to hold water all year long, but to temporarily hold water. Or maybe even, trying to think what you call it, just an underground pit with rock and gravel in it that you cover and put your lawn over the top, but that would allow seepage into the ground all year round if it was below the frost line.
I think that would be considered like a dry well.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just kind of an education piece of the homeowners, and these are, alternatives that you can explore. Some, I haven't seen it in smaller communities, some larger cities will have, and it's more of a comprehensive stormwater management approach, that, they'll have kind of mini grants for homeowners or businesses to do rain barrels or do rain gardens just to try to slow down how much stormwater is going into the system. Like I said, that's usually part of the kind of an overall approach to how you manage stormwater. I'm not sure if, for what we're looking at, if something that effort is necessary or called for. It's more just hey, these haven't been allowed. It's happened and we're there, but it needs to be taken back, and these are some relatively inexpensive options that you as a homeowner could do yourself or hire a contractor to do. That would just have it, going, because some the grade, it's just a really wet area, and it's a losing battle with water year round.
And some of these curb cuts are not all just sump pumps, some of them are road drains coming out. So you should not have that issue on the other time that.
think we discussed in streets and sewer, the fact that, you know, we are spending a lot of money to do these correct, and even the cost share, it's a positive thing, because some of those that are done correctly, there was no cost share.
Yeah.
There is a cost share now. And hopefully homeowners would want to do that, and I think a lot would, if they understand and, you know, see that. But water, we know, causes damage regardless. And we gotta try to mitigate that as best we can, I think, a little bit.
And just to be clear, what streets and sewer, what they recommended in their meeting was for the cost share would just apply to the driveway.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
But
Just that curb, the driveway part there, yeah.
What's the plan for if they don't want to do the cost share?
so we can do a property tax.
Yeah, we would
Okay. I just didn't,
be assessed to their property
Actually,
tax.
that should be relatively inexpensive
Yeah.
unless the
Yeah.
homeowner wants to make it expensive.
yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of piping your sump pump out into your yard.
Oh, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about the driveways, if they don't want to,
All the driveways, we
Yep.
have an agreement, that if they don't want to pay it in full, we could assess it to their property taxes over 5 years. You know, at the time, we didn't know how much it was going to cost, but, you know, $750, I think we could probably do over 5 years. Also, on these curb cuts, if they're close to a storm sewer intake, they could just change the routing of the pipe and go into the storm sewer rather than out into the yard.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it's just knowledge, letting them know that there is another option that's easy for them. I know in some areas we don't have that option, and I don't have any real good answers for those areas yet. Out in the Garrigan area there, it's low, so I don't know if there is such a thing as a dry well. If you dig a hole, it'll probably fill up with water,
But
so.
this area is mostly on the Overmeyer, it's San
Yeah.
Jose where they have the curb cuts. The rest of the Mill and Overlake areas that we walked, we did not see any curb cuts for drainage.
Okay.
It seems more like it was when that area was constructed, that was
Mhm.
how it was built at the time, and so it seems to.
Okay.
Back to the driveways really quick, Jacob. What does the city do for the future to make homeowners putting in a new driveway know the right way to do it? Do you guys tell the contractors when they do a building permit, or do you tell the homeowners?
see
So they
this,
put it in the right way the first time and don't have to go back and do it some other day?
Well, I think a lot of that comes with the mayor now, you know, being code enforcement. He has a meeting every, well, he's going to be having one this spring again with contractors. And he can cover that in the meeting. You have to make sure you put the drive-over curb in, if you're putting the driveway in, or let us know so we can put the drive-over curb in. A lot of times, if they're putting a driveway in where there has not been a curb, they do a curb cut, so they need to make sure that slope is on there.
Okay.
And that is the standard building practice in the state. You know, we follow the CDOS statewide urban design specification, so that wherever you're building in the state, these are the standards that you should be following. You know, we kind of did our walking tours, you know, pretty much all of them that you could tell were relatively new, were all done correctly. You know, I think there's more of the older ones, as well as there's some that you could tell it may have just been a homeowner trying to do a blunt do-it-yourself project, and they've actually, you know, installed, you know, fill or asphalt in the curb line, and so now it's completely blocking it. You know, it's probably some of those things that you look at and you don't necessarily understand how it affects the whole system.
Any work that's done in the right of way needs a right of way permit. And that's one of the good things about a permit. With that permit, you get all the information that you need for the circumstances that you're doing in the city right of way. So it's advantageous to do a permit because you'll get all the information you need to do it right. Then the last, it might save you money.
so we can have it in the design specs and in the bid document. You know, that's the first decision point that we need, and then with that, it's how is that paid for? The streets and sewer had recommended a 50-50 cost share. I think that's fair because they're getting an improvement out of it, and it's protecting both the private and the public infrastructure. It needs to be addressed, but you know, it's a private improvement. You know, so what that cost share looks like. But like I said, first we need to make sure that we're going to do it, and then we still have time to figure out if we want to make the cost share some more.
Are we thinking 50-50 cost share no matter the scope? I mean, if one, we need to go back, I mean, are we the determining factor where if a driveway's cracked and we need to go all the way back up to the sidewalk, that we're gonna go all the way back there and split that, or are we just cutting it off at 4 foot, whatever?
That's kind of up to the engineer because we have to make the driveway drivable.
Exactly, yeah.
If that one driveway is really steep and we can't just put an angle in and then have it come straight down,
Mhm.
so.
And I'm just thinking if an approach is cracked and there's already one spot heaved, we can't match concrete up to something that's already heaved, so that's what I'm saying, is that gonna be something that the homeowner eats, or are we just gonna go, each one's kind of its own individual?
Yeah,
and-
each one's gonna be kind of different, and we're talking about a total of 12 houses.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna replace the curb, and we have this issue.
It would be, the 50-50 would be what's necessary to have the appropriate grade and proper construction. And then, you know, at that point, if we're 2, 3, 4 feet in, you know, the homeowner and this typical construction project might just say to the contractor, hey, why don't you do the rest of my driveway while you're at it? You know, then that would be 100% on the private
Yep.
owner. It would just be basically the 50-50 would be whatever. Some of them we might be able to, you know, it would be a relatively small area and a pretty quick fix, but whatever that is to get an appropriate slope.
Yep.
So tonight's just a discussion to make people aware. Oh, an approved cost share, it does say approved.
Right.
So you want to,
I think Jacob would like some action on this and
okay.
resolution here.
Well, at a minimum, to address the driveways as part of the project, and then ideally at this time, we're making a decision on cost share, but there is still time that, you know, we could debate that further.
No.
It would be nice, but as soon as possible, to give, you know, obviously notice to the
Yeah.
property owner so they can make considerations. I think, you know, giving them options with, you can pay it, you know, just write a check, or you know, we can do a tax assessment, to finance it.
I think that's one of the easier decisions in the whole thing here. The cost share, it doesn't make sense to, and it's not gonna be that much. So I'd move to approve the cost share of 50% up to the amount that the staff determines is required to make the driveway navigable.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion from Harley and a second from Don. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Yes.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. So Jacob, anything else on agenda item 17? Or does that satisfy your thoughts there? And
That's everything that we needed, in terms of direction, but if there's questions on the project or anything, we can certainly discuss more.
okay.
As far as the curb cuts, I would like to get the letters out to, I believe there were 16 residents in that area, to give them 90 days or 120 days to get the problem corrected. I want to give them as much time as possible so that earlier we can get the notice out to them, the better. So
Okay,
In terms of a timeline for the project, obviously, we're still under design. And we're looking at bidding that this spring, and then depending on the contractor, there's kind of three major steps of the project. The first one is going in and doing all the concrete work to reconstruct and repair the curbs, which will take care of the driveways at the same time, as well as the drains to the curb. So that will, obviously be the first part, and then the second part would be coming in doing the milling, and the third would be the asphalt overlay, but the concrete work will probably take the most amount of time, because that's very unique to each one, so we're probably looking at starting that, I guess, early midsummer, but it kind of depend on whoever bids it, what their timeline is. I believe that the way we have it spec in the engineering docs is basically it has to get done sometime this calendar year, but we can always narrow that down too.
And not every curb that has the curb cut is getting replaced. So after the timeline of, you have to move it, we're gonna go in and plug those curb cuts. They won't be putting water out into the street. The ones that aren't being replaced, that way they won't be putting water into the street.
okay,
I guess to say it, I'm one of the guys that I got a curb that's right, or an entrance that's right, but a gutter that goes to the street. So as a councilman, I'm one that's got to fix an area and understand why better. So it's just part of the process.
we'll come all out and help you dig it up.
No, it won't need to be dug up. I'm a same homeowner that'll deal with the same issues.
But in this letter, we'll give them some ideas of French
Yep.
drains, rain gardens, and different ideas of what they can do.
Okay. Okay, so before we adjourn, again, congratulations, Tyler. And thank you, Carl Wessling, again for submitting your name for a candidate for city council. Tonight, too, I'd like to thank Chief Kendall Pals for being with us tonight. So, and very possibly, we're not going to meet again until the 5th of April. So with that,
Good to see
I
you
would
all.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned. It's 5:54. Thank you.